I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business trainer, author of Food Truck 101, Beginner to Winner, and the recently released book, Food Truck 201, Get Off the Truck. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some common scams, and I'm going to share a story with you that I haven't hardly told anybody. Back when I was a very young manager at Rack's Restaurants, I received a phone call from a company that wanted to sell us some miracle general purpose cleaner that could do everything. Greasy dishes, clean the windows, clean the bathrooms, do a degreaser on the floors. It was an all-purpose cleaner perfect for a restaurant. Back then, we would be buying each of those individually. So we had a dish soap, we had an all-purpose cleaner, we have window cleaner, we had degreaser, and then we had bathroom cleaner. So we had 5 different cleaners. So being able to get a single product sounded pretty good. So the salesman went on to include a free gift, and the free gift was an auto dialer. Now, this was back in the times when we were transitioning from the rotary phones to the touch tone phones that you guys are more accustomed with today. But back then, a rotary phone actually took time to dial because you'd have to rotate around. And if there were a lot of 9s in a number, it would take 20, 30 seconds to be able to place that particular phone call. And what the auto dialer would do is it would create the tones for the different buttons, and then you could put that to the mouthpiece of the phone and it would send out the tones, making the phone calls quicker. So it was a cool little thing. Kind of like if somebody was to offer you a free, cheap Android tablet with a purchase today. Just a little bit of technology that hardly no one had back then. And of course, I fell for the pitch. I went ahead and ordered 1 case, but at least I had sense enough to say, only 1 case, and this is only going to be a trial. But I did something really dumb. I forgot to ask, how much will that case be? So needless to say, I got in a whole bunch of trouble when we got the 4-gallon case and had used about half of it when the invoice came, and the invoice was for $400. Clearly it was a scam because the cleaner was nowhere near as effective as it should have been for any of the jobs except the bathrooms. It actually did have a spearmint aroma, and it was actually quite pleasant to walk in there after someone had used it. But for everything else, it was useless. So I'm going to go over some of the other common scams that you'll see, and hopefully you can teach your employees and maybe educate yourself a little bit so you don't end up paying a whole bunch of money for something that won't do you anything. According to the FBI, the biggest type of fraud in the U.S. is compromised business emails. Here the scammer poses as a vendor, so say Cisco or U.S. Foods, and they send you an email asking you to wire them money or to maybe buy a gift card, or they might ask for some other personal information, and they usually provide some plausible reason, some plausible explanation. The email coming from Cisco could say, hey, if you will pay this invoice in Visa gift cards, we will give you a 20% discount. And you might think, oh, that's 20% is a pretty decent amount of a discount. I'll be happy to do that. And as soon as you send off those gift card numbers, you never hear anything else from them because it's a scam. So obviously a gift card with a legitimate business is not going to be something that happens, but wire transfers, though, is something that happens. When you're dealing with many thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, wire transfers are relatively common. So be certain that when you're answering any kind of an email that it has legitimately come from the source you think it came from. You could receive fake invoices in the mail, and we get these all the time. We see it a lot with labor posters. Get the 5-in-1 poster, get the 7-in-1 poster for the low price at $75. It's laminated and it's mandatory and you must have this posted. And people freak out because, well, I didn't know I had to have that poster up. Well, $75 ain't bad, I'll send the money off. Now you may or may not get a poster, but the problem is they are tricking you into posting something you don't have to have up. The only thing you have to have up is whatever the Labor Department requires, but it certainly doesn't have to be a 5-in-1 or 7-in-1 laminated fancy poster. It can be on plain old copy paper printed off from their website. So a lot of businesses fall for that. They spend big money on things they don't need because they've been tricked. This is required. You must do this. There's the directory scams, and this is something I have dealt with with every single restaurant I've opened. You'll get someone from Yellow Pages, or you'll get some ad mailed to your business that says, hey, for the low, low price of, you can get your own personalized ad in the city directory or the local Yellow Pages or some other directory that in most likelihood is not being printed and that no one knows about or will ever use. So be aware of those kind of things coming in, and that's just exactly what it is. Junk mail. Throw it away. You may encounter people that spoof your brand, spoof your Facebook page, your other social media, or even your website. And their goal is to damage your business in some way, shape, or form. Or they could possibly direct business away from you. If you have a hefty catering business, for instance, they may direct catering to their own food truck, taking it away from you. But people are thinking they're dealing with you, so you end up losing business. Or they could just want to make you look bad and say really unsavory things on social media, making it seem like it came from your account when it didn't. You may get charity pitches. Most businesses are regularly asked to donate something to a charitable cause or to participate in some way to help raise funds. And a lot of those requests are going to be legitimate. But every year, small businesses become victim of fraudulent or deceptive charitable solicitations. You want to research any charity that approaches you and make sure that they're real. And from my standpoint, I would rather tell everyone that comes to me a blatant no, and then follow that up with, but I'll be happy to put you on my budget for next year. What's your contact information? And then that way you can research them and know if it's a legitimate business or not. And then also it helps them to understand that, hey, you got a budget too, just like everybody else. And of course, there's the generic phishing scams, and that's a scam where they attempt to steal sensitive information about your business. And they often do it with legitimate emails and even text messages. So before you ever click on anything that's a link in a text message or an email, verify where it's going to go. Because often those things will either download a virus or they will send you to a page asking for more information, like, hey, I need your account information to verify that you're who you say you are. But remember, they contacted you. They already know who you are. If it's an email, you can hover your cursor over the link to see what the real address is and where it's sending you off to. I get about 30 emails a day supposedly from Facebook telling me that so-and-so is logged into my computer. And then when you open up the email, it looks just like the email that Facebook would send out. But when you hover your cursor over those particular links, you'll see that it may say Facebook login, and then it will be an @gmail.com email address. And you know good and well that Facebook is not going to use Gmail to do its communication between users. So be careful of phishing scams. Then there's the office supply scams. What the scammers will do is they'll call and solicit information. What kind of brand of supplies do you use? Could be thermal paper. That's a big thing that we go through. Could be guest checks. And then they'll call a few days later and just happen to be that particular company that you use, or just happen to carry that particular product that you need. Thermal paper, or 2-copy guest checks, whatever it is. And then they will say that somebody has placed an order ordering 10 cases of this particular product, and we can't sell it because they canceled the order. And we'll sell it to you for the low, low discount of. Just give us your credit card information and we'll send this right out to you. And they'll make the deal sound sweet enough that you want to do it, because thermal paper is expensive. Guest checks are expensive. But of course, as soon as you give them your information, you never ever hear from them again, and you never get any guest checks. Then we have the vanity awards. Somebody will tell you that you just won this great, awesome award that the city just started, and all we need is the shipping address and a shipping and handling fee, and we'll send you out your award. And they may even have a website for you to go to that says how awesome you are. And you think you're going to be getting a reward, and all you got to do is just pay to have it shipped to you. And the shipping fee will be really, really expensive. The handling fee will be really, really expensive. And if you do get an award, it won't be very expensive. And it won't be anything that anybody cares about. But hey, it's a vanity award, and you got it. You won it. There's the overpayment scams, and you guys see these a lot in a lot of text messages. Hey, I got a catering. And all you got to do is cover the photographer because he doesn't take credit cards, and I'll just pay you the extra and pay you the difference. Anytime they want to give you more money than you asked for, it's a scam. 100% it's a scam. I've seen this in every business that Melissa and I have ever ran. If I tell you it's going to cost you $500 or $6,000 for a catering, whatever the amount, and they say, perfect. How about if I pay you $7,000 or I pay you $600 or I pay you $700 and you give that additional money to someone else? It's a scam. because you can be guaranteed that the check's going to bounce or the credit card is going to be declined or it's going to be disputed. So don't go for anything when they promise you more money than you want. So the bottom line is you want to protect your own information. Don't give it to anybody that doesn't need to have it. You want to protect your devices with all the possible antivirus protection you can put on it, and only give access to people that need to have the access. Your cashier does not need to know the password to get into your Square account, and you need to teach your employees too. Here's one scam that happens a lot and you don't even realize it's a scam. Phone rings. You grab the phone, you pick it up, you're super busy, and you hear a little bit of crunching, mumbling, and someone goes, "Can you hear me?" And you automatically say yes, because you're not rude. They just now have a recording of you agreeing to whatever they decide to edit in front of that question. So instead of the recording say, "Can you hear me?" it says, "Do you agree to pay us $2,000 to change your phone to MCI or some other phone company? Or do you agree to pay us this amount of money, and we're going to charge it through your phone company?" Those scams were really big in 2017. They still go on today. I actually had one call me last week. And the very first question, "I'm blah, 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 blah from blah, blah, blah. Can you hear me?" The "can you hear me" came out clearly. The company they were from, not a clue. The name of the person, not a clue. "Can you hear me" was clear. And I knew what it was. It's a scam. The other time that they will scam you is when they say, "Hi, this is so-and-so from some company." And then they'll say, "Is this?" And then they'll give your specific food truck name. "Is this Bill's Food Truck?" And they're wanting you to say, "Yes, it is." Same deal. That yes then gets edited into something else. So how you teach your staff and how you should teach yourself is when someone says, "Can you hear me?" "I can hear you. How may I help you?" Or if they say, "Hey, is this Bill's Food Truck?" You say, "You've reached my business. How can I help you?" You're not saying yes. "I can hear you. How can I help you?" "You reached my business. How can I help you?" "You've reached the correct number. How can I help you?" "You've reached Bill's Food Truck. How can I help you?" Just don't say yes. You can get as callous as I am because I have zero regret hanging up on unsolicited sales phone calls. And you shouldn't feel bad either. After all, most of the time when they call, I'm too busy. And if they call when it's slow, probably a scam. You're not going to waste my time. I control my time. And you should too. Thank you so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to helping you with your food truck. And again, thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow because you know I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.